Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the week of April 5th through April 11th, and it's another big week. Last week we had Venus. This week we've got Mars. It is big, 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 so get ready. I've also got a couple of announcements, so let's jump right into it. All right, before we get into the astrology, I am so excited to announce an upcoming speaking engagement that I'm going to be doing. I'm very honored to be a guest at the Center at 8 Branches Chinese Medicine. They're hosting a series of talks given by people, I think, sort of the elders coming from different philosophic backgrounds and that kind of thing. At least that's my understanding. Anyway, the series is called Bridging Wisdom, Stories as Medicine. And I've been asked to talk about my philosophy around seizing the energies of the stars. And so that's what I'll be doing. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up, but I would love it if some of you would register and be part of this amazing event. I have worked with this group before, and they're magical. That's all I can say. They are magical. They really bring together community and they foster community. That's what they foster. They foster a sense of people just being together and sharing energy and holding space for each other. And it was just such a blessing for me the last time that I got to speak with the group. I'm really looking forward to this. So if you want to check them out and keep an eye on when registration opens up, and I don't have details about that yet, I'll certainly announce them when I have them, but you can find them at 8branches.com/the-center/ I will put that down in the show notes, but it's the number 8branches.com/the-center/. Is that how you say it? Is that how I'm supposed to read that out? Anyway, it's the Center 8 Branches Chinese Medicine. You can also probably Google it. And again, I'm not quite sure when registration is opening up. Oh, maybe it would be good to tell you when I'm actually speaking. And that is going to be on April 19th. And that's going to be from 10 to 12 o'clock Central Time. I'm really excited, and I would love it if some of you could attend. That would be so much fun. Anyway, moving right along to the astrology, I'm going to be talking about the Mars sextile to Uranus and the Mars ingress into Aries. Oh, and just one more quick announcement. If you want to do the deep dive, you know to go over there to Substack. However, there will be a Substack this week. The following week, there will not be. There will be a podcast, so keep listening, but I'm going to skip that week of Substack. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I'll announce all of that at another time. But anyway, this week, podcast and Substack. Next week, podcast only. All right, with all of that said, before I get into the Mars, Uranus, Aries stuff, Mercury is finally leaving his retrograde shadow on April 9th. What does that mean? That means that the entire retrograde story is finished. So not only are we moving forward with the themes of the retrograde, we're beyond it. It's now time for new energy, new ideas, new communication. The whole retrograde cycle is complete. Okay, so that started. Mercury went into pre-shadow on February 11th. So just this week on the 9th, we are finally done with it. Okay, so that should feel really good. Now, I always say give it a few days, give Mercury some time to really get his speed going in this new energy. But yeah, it's all systems go. Just wanted to say that I'm always glad when a retrograde cycle ends. Okay, just a short little background on what we're doing. And I am going to do sign by sign. Sorry, I should have probably said that up front. I am going to do sign by sign. But first, let me give you a little bit of background. From the very beginning of the week, we've got Mars moving into an exact sextile with Uranus. Mars is in Pisces, that's spirituality. Uranus is in Taurus, that's fixed Earth, right? That's our ideas about stability, security, and comfort. Remember, Uranus is the rebel. Uranus says we got to shake stuff up. So for a while, Uranus has been saying, question what you believe about security and stability. It's time to blow up old thinking in that area, right? It's time to let go of illusions of stability and security. And now we've got Mars forming a positive angle, so adding that fire. And Mars, is very much the individual. The individual. So he's saying you are your own security. You need to let go of some idea that there's some external system or form or whatever, government, family, whatever it is, that is going to give you security and stability and make you comfortable. It's not going to happen like that. It's got to come from you. Remember, Mars is the warrior, and it's saying defend yourself, be your own champion. And he's in Pisces when this is happening. So it's like the spiritual warrior. Come from your soul, come from your true, deep spiritual authenticity. Create your own security. Defend yourself. This is a really important transit. Now, normally sextiles aren't that important. They're positive. They're angles of opportunity. They're not going to beat you over the head. And that's true of this one as well. You've got to grab this energy while it's available to you. You've got to say, what does my heart and soul really tell me I need to do so that I feel stable and secure? Do I need a new job? Do I need to work for myself? How is my family structured? Do I need to change something? Do I need time on my own? I don't know. There are a million answers to this because you've got to go into, each of us has to go into our own soul space and answer these questions. So sextiles, because they're not going to beat you over the head, they're generally not thought of as being as important as, say, a trine or a square. But this one, because both Uranus and Mars are at that 29th degree, it's that last degree of a sign. And what do I always tell you? Think of it, I know this is a morbid and probably weird way to say this, but think of it as like the death throes, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I am leaving this sign. I need to get my work done. That last gasp, that last effort, that last push, I've got to do that. Both of these planets are going to meet up in that sextile at the 29th degree. Okay, so that is such a gigantic thing. They are both finishing up their time and they are really going to push. Again, this is rebellious energy. You got to blow some stuff up and it's unexpected. Uranus is unexpected change, unexpected opportunity to change. So yeah, get ready to get rowdy. Yeah, in a kind of spiritual way. Does that make sense? All right, so when is this happening? This is all week long, y'all. But it's going to be exact. Mars at 29 degrees, Uranus at 29 degrees on the 8th. Again, they're close enough all week long. This is what we're going to be doing. Then on the 9th, Mars is going to go into Aries, a sign that he rules. He's going to be at that 0 degrees. Now, think back to earlier this year when we had the Neptune-Saturn conjunction at 0 degrees Aries. Remember I said, this is the point of creation. This is the God point. Remember that? And Saturn and Neptune were all about tearing down old structures, dreaming new dreams, creating new structures that are based on our independent needs, wants, desires, goals, all of that. I told you, we are moving into a new era. We are creating the worlds we need, want to live in for the next kind of forever. Not forever, but for the next good long time, for many years. We are never going back to the old way. I promise you we're not. Now, what does all of that have to do with Mars? On the 9th, Mars is going to hit that 0 Aries degree, and he is the king on his throne. He rules Aries. He rules that point of creation. So he is going to be reigniting the themes of that Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Now, here's the thing about Saturn and Neptune. They're both slow. Saturn literally rules things like going slow. Neptune is the god of the ocean. Everything moves slower. Well, not everything, maybe not fish, but we move slower when we're in water, right? It's just slower going. Mars brings fire, passion, speed, energy, and he's going to trigger that point where they establish that theme, and he's going to say, go now. Now he's just coming off that sextile. So, oh my gosh, he's just shattered old ideas about stability and has dreamed new ways. How do we provide stability for ourselves? And now he's going in there to say, we're going to build something. We're going to bring all of this new energy to building our world. It's weird. It's big. All right, hold on. Let me get to the sign by sign. Now remember, you want to listen to your rising sign. That's who you are. If you don't know it, listen to your sun sign. That's your soul's outer expression in the world. And or your moon sign. Your moon is the more subjective internal reality, unless you're born at night, and it can be, instead of the sun, your luminary to listen for. But for everybody, the best thing to do is listen to your rising sign. You might want to listen to all three for the most comprehensive understanding of this week's energy. Okay, let's get into it. And I'm going to go a little bit quick here because there's a whole lot to cover. All right, for Aries, Mars is going to be in your 12th house. Uranus is in your 2nd house. So this is all about insecurity around money. This is, what have you been doing? What illusions have you bought into, whatever, around what you need to do to be financially secure? Yeah, blow that stuff up. That's happening. That is happening this week. You are going to have to face that those were all crazy stories, or if not crazy stories you told yourself, then they're just no longer true. Those beliefs you had around financial security, if they were ever true, they're not true anymore. Time to blow it up. You're going to think of some new ideas, get more real with yourself. How do you want to provide for yourself? And that's what this week is going to be about. And it's going to be, and this is for all of the signs, it is going to be moving forward. This is not just for this week that we're going to be dealing with these themes. Okay, Taurus. Mars is in your 11th house of friends, your tribe, group identity, and Uranus is in your 1st house of you. So this is really taking a look at what role you play in the tribe. You may have believed for some period of time that you're an outsider, that you don't fit in quite right. Or on the other hand, for some of you, it's going to be that you need your tribe, you need your friends. That's how you're secure. Either of those extremes, like I don't need anybody, it's all me, I keep myself, I'm a loner, or I can't do it alone. I need my friends. Either one of those extremes, you're going to see through it this week. Neither of those is true. Of course, you keep yourself secure, but that doesn't mean there's something about you that can't be a part of a group. You just need to find your authentic group. Okay? So get ready to challenge your beliefs around either how you need the group or how there's something about you that cannot be in a group. Either one of those sides could come up. All right. For Gemini, this is Mars in your 10th house of career and Uranus in your 12th house of alone time, behind the scenes time. So this could be a situation where you've been feeling like you can't give it all professionally because you're too sensitive, you're too much of an empath, you're too fragile, too tired. I don't know. You'll have to figure out how that 12th house plays out for you and blow that illusion. It is time to put some fire into your career zone. If you're not a person with a career right now, that could be put fire into your public persona, how you present yourself out in the world. It's time to recognize that you're stronger than you think and you have more to offer. The other thing could be that you've been feeling like you can only work sort of behind the scenes. Nah, time to step out and get on center stage. You'll see. All right, for Cancer. Cancer, for you, Mars is in the 9th house of spirituality, higher education, and foreign cultures, also publishing. And Uranus is in the 11th house of your tribe. So you may be another one that you've really been feeling like you need the group. You need the group to make it all okay. You can't go travel to Europe or wherever the heck you want to travel to because you don't have anyone to go with, right? You know that thing like, I can't go back to school, I'll be older than everybody else, or, all of that stuff. Or I don't want to do like a solitary spiritual path. I need a group to be a part of. Yeah, no, you don't. Cut it out. Cut that right out because you really can be the leader or go it on your own. You want to travel around the world? Go. You got this. You don't need the group to make it okay. You don't have to sign up for a tour. You'll meet people while you're there. I promise you. You just need to show up as your authentic self and pursue your dreams and your goals. All right? Leo, yours is interesting because Mars is in your 8th house of joint finances, also trauma. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Uranus is in your 10th house of career. So you may be someone who's been feeling like to be stable, you have to work a full-time career job. You can't go out on your own because you won't be able to find the investors you need, or you can't go out on your own because your partner's money isn't enough, or maybe he or she will think you're a burden, or whatever it is, or your savings won't hold you, or something like that. Get over it. Everything's going to be okay. You can attract the money you need through, like I said, financial investors or partner money, whatever that kind of thing is in your life. The other way this may show up for some of you is that you're clinging to a career you don't want or that you've outgrown because you have past trauma around issues of stability, security, like, oh my gosh, I can't let go of this job because I'll never get anything better, or I can't go do that thing I really want to do because it's not practical, and I have trauma because I grew up in a family of lack or something like that. Okay, you're going to break through that this week. All right. For Virgo, Mars is in your 7th house of primary relationship, and Uranus is in your 9th house, spirituality, higher education, and foreign cultures and travels. So this could be a thing where you feel like you have really been holding yourself back because of your partnership, your marriage, your one-on-one relationship, or if you're single, you've been holding yourself back because you've been putting so much effort into finding a partner that you don't go out into the world. All right. So the 9th house is interesting. It really is about going out into the world, whether through education and expanding our minds, through spirituality and expanding our lives that way, or through literally foreign travel and going out into the world. So whether it's that you have felt like you couldn't do that because of a relationship, oh, my partner doesn't want me to go back to school or doesn't believe in that kind of spiritual path that I've been wanting to pursue, or doesn't like to travel. Oh, well, that's on them. This is about you finding your authenticity and really, what do you need? How do you want to grow in that 9th house way? But also realizing that you don't always have to keep, sometimes in this configuration, it has to do with recognizing that being home with your partner is what you want to do. And that this idea that you should always be going out, reaching for more, expanding, that's sort of essential, or grow or die kind of thing, right? So you might be giving up that sense of what provides stability in your life and saying, you know what, it's okay if we're just nesting for a while. It's okay if I'm just putting my energy into this partnership that's really meaningful to me. That doesn't make me less of a person, less exciting, whatever. So it could go either way for you guys. Okay, for Libra, Mars is in your 6th house of day-to-day routine and physical health. Uranus is in your 8th house of joint resources and trauma and fear. So this could be that for you, I really feel like old wounds, old senses of what you have to do to stay stable. Early childhood trauma, possibly, that made you cling to stability. Like, I cannot change anything in my life because stability is so important for me. I've never had stability, whatever it is. And it's created trauma in your life. And Mars in the 6th is saying, let's go out and kick some butt. Want to do what do they call those things? An Iron Man thing? Want to, take on a new exercise routine? Want to focus on your own physical space, your own physical body and wellness, and maybe forget about all the old wounds for a little while. Like, maybe you don't have to forever be striving for a kind of stability that really was anchored in trauma. Does that make sense? Yours is interesting. You'll have to let me know how that one plays out for you, you Libra rising people. Scorpio, Mars is in your 5th house of creativity, sex, children. Uranus is in your 7th house of one-on-one relationships. We often call it the marriage house, right? So this is going to be one of those ones where, what do you need to blow up in the area of relationships? Okay. Have you been putting your own creativity on back burner because of commitments to your relationship. You're putting so much of your energy into your relationship and maintaining stability there that you haven't been really living creatively. Have you been so stable in the sexual part of your relationship that you're not having fun anymore? Because fifth house is sex, and it is also fun. Just fun. So sex for fun? Yeah, it falls in there. What's been going on with you in the area of relationships that you are trading stability for fun? We need to get over that, don't we? I think this is a time when you're going to see that becoming creative, becoming more childlike, getting sexier, playing, exploring, having fun is going to kind of take center stage over that, I'm a good husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever it is. And yeah, I think time to blow some stuff up, blow the old ways up. If you're a single person, this could be like, are you holding back on having fun because you're waiting for that relationship to come along? Maybe it's time to just go out and kick your heels up and do whatever. But for a lot of you also, it's really going to be tapping into your creative spirits, your creative energy, and letting go of that need for so much, like old school security. Okay, Sagittarius. Mars is in your fourth house of home and family, and Uranus is in your sixth house of day-to-day routines and physical health. So, you know what this is really about for you? I'm 99% sure, or for a lot of us, it's going to be true. Us. I'm not Sagittarius, but you know what I mean. Anyhow, it's going to be how have you let your day-to-day routine become stagnant and monotonous because you want security, and somehow you've equated day-to-day sameness with security, with comfort. And it probably connects to how you're structuring your home life with your family, whoever it is you live with. This could even include roommates if you live with roommates. How are you not living the way you want to live in your own space, in your own home environment, because you want to keep stability, and stability equals same. Cut it out. You guys are really going to bust loose. I'm imagining some of you painting peace signs with spray paint cans all over your walls or something. I don't know. Oh, is that just me? I think that's just me. Anyway, I imagine you breaking out of these chains and getting rebellious and saying, no, you know what? I don't want to live in this house anymore. I want to go live in a yurt or a treehouse, or I don't want to always be the one home cleaning, cooking. Y'all are going to have to do that, or we're door dashing it because I got some other stuff to do, right? Something. What's true for you? How do you want home and family to be? Remember, this is about us, the individual, our needs. And I promise you, day-to-day sameness isn't it for you. All right, Capricorn. We've got Mars in the third house of siblings, communication, local community. Really think of this as the house of communication. And we've got Uranus in the fifth house. This is all about creativity. All right. This is all about communicating creatively. It's interesting that while all of this is happening, Mercury is very near Mars, finally direct, finally out of shadow, and in this house of communication. So for some of you, I am really wondering, have you been stagnant in your creative expression? I think this is going to come out. Have you been wanting to write a book, start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, start a Substack, whatever it is? Or is it just that you want to be more creative in how you interact with people? Do you want to stop worrying so much about, are you saying the right thing? Are you expressing yourself in the right way? And maybe just getting more creative about how you use your voice, whatever that means to you. We all communicate differently. This could also have to do with shaking up relationships with siblings and getting a little bit more dynamic and freshening up those relationships. All right. Okay, and Aquarius, we've got Mars in your second house of money and Uranus in your fourth house of home and family. This is very clearly about those of you who are sort of house poor. You know, those people who feel like I've got to put all my money, all of my effort, all of my resources into my home because home equals security. Well, that's going to change, right? I don't mean that your home is not going to be secure, but maybe it's time to consider, do you want to spend your money some other way? Is the home and family like a money suck? And you've bought into it because you feel like, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Well, maybe not. Maybe you want to invest in your business, invest in yourself in some way. Maybe the home has caused you to go into debt because it's needed repairs or beautifying or whatever. So this is really time to let go of that illusion that our only stability in the world comes from our home environment, and really think about, where do you want your resources to go? What would you like to invest in? How would you like to maybe spend more on you and maybe not quite so much on all the others in the family? This is a configuration. I know I can already hear it. Me saying don't spend so much on the family, I'm going to get the comments. I already know that. But you know what, y'all? It is actually all right to use some of your money for yourself, and you can nail me on that one if you want. I'm going to stand by it. All right. And finally, Pisces. Mars is in your sign, and Uranus is in the third house of communication, local community, and siblings. So this could very much be about, you know, maybe you've always seen your relationship with your siblings as being all important to your well-being. And again, when I'm saying blow this stuff up a little, I don't mean like don't speak to your siblings, though some of you may not, but I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying they don't make you stable and secure. That's not where your security is going to come from moving forward. You've got to have it inside yourself. You've got to be the champion for you. You've got to be the defender of your own cause, all right? This could also be about local community, how people in the community see you, your standing in the community. You know, oh, I couldn't because then people will think, you know, those kinds of thought processes. All right, this is about, what do you want? How do you stand up for you and become more authentically you? That's what this is all about this week. And like I've said to everybody, this is really the theme moving forward all year. All right. So this is a year, you guys, of building the world that we want to live in and forming the communities that are going to be our legitimate, honest, heartfelt communities as we enter this new era. That's what this year is about. And this Mars Uranus energy and then Mars moving into Aries is going to shake this stuff up and help us co-create the universe. It's kind of amazing. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. I hope this was helpful. Go on over and see me on Substack. Leave comments over there. I'd love to talk to you. And go check out that event that I told you about. Again, I'll put that stuff down in the show notes. But I would love to know that you're in the audience. And it is the Center at 8 Branches Chinese Medicine. All right, until next week. Go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always. All right, bye.